Let's talk about markups and markdowns. Goods travel through many outlets. Before they reach the consumer. I'm going to draw a graph of one item. Let's say this is a watch. We've got the manufacturer. We have the wholesaler. We have a retailer. And we have me. I'm the consumer. What happens with this watch as we go through? The watch costs the manufacturer $100 in materials and in operating costs. Let's just go with materials, cost of goods sold. Then the wholesaler is going to pay more for that. They're going to pay $145. That means that the manufacturer used a markup of $45. They bought it at $100 and they marked it up or have a profit of $45. And here we're going to continue to just talk about gross profits. So $45 happened there. The retailer, well, the retailer is not going to pay $145. The retailer paid $175, meaning we have a markup of $30. Finally, I pay more than $175. I'm actually going to pay $200 for this watch, meaning the retailer marks it up by $25. So markup in dollars and I'm going to explain why I keep on saying in dollars in a moment, is actually equal to the gross profit per item. So for one watch, the manufacturer makes $45. That's their profit. The retailer, their profit is $25. Here, the total markup from start to finish on this watch, on this item, is $100. That $100 is divided up. $45 goes to the manufacturer. Next, $30 goes to the wholesaler, something like Costco, where the retailer shops, or a person who buys from factories then sells just to store. The retailer makes $25, and that's the store at the mall where I bought my watch. I make no money because I'm now wearing the watch. So that's our total markup. When I add those together, it adds to $100 total. And the profits are divided. Like we talked about before with margins, it makes sense to talk about percent. Percent markup is equal to markup over cost. And we sometimes call that the gross profit per item over the cost, or cost of the goods sold. So that's the markup. Here, our percent markup, and sometimes we just call that markup, is $100 in profit over $100 in cost is 100%, or 1. But let's look at each individual one. So we have the manufacturer. Remember, the manufacturer made $45 over $100. That was the cost, is going to be a 45% markup. When we go to the wholesaler, let's just change colors there because why not? The wholesaler made $30, right? $30, but they also paid more. They paid $145 because their cost was more. That's going to be 20.69% markup. And finally, let's go to the retailer. Well, their profit, that was $25, but they paid more. They actually ended up paying $175, which gives us a markup of 14.29%. The denominator here changes because it was the cost at each step. What happens when I add these things together? I end up with around, that means around 80%. I'm going to cross that out. Don't add these. When you add them together, you end up with nonsense, something that doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's because those bases were different. The denominators of those fractions were different, and that's what's giving us a problem. The total markup, as we know, is 100%, even if those numbers don't add that way. And that was because $100 profit over $100 cost equals 100%. Okay, let's talk about margins and markups. Percent margin versus percent markup. Margin is based on sales. Markup is cost as a base. Those are different. Margin is equal to gross profit over sales. And this is the percent gross margin, which is the one we're normally worrying about right now. And here, percent markup is the same amount or numerator, but a different base. Try to figure out a way to remember this. I tend to use markup has a k sound, cost has a k sound. Margin, no k sound, sales, no k sound. That's my mnemonic for remembering why margin goes with sales and markup goes with costs. That may or may not be helpful to you. Let's go through one example of this, a different example. So let's pretend an item costs $100 to buy in a store. The store paid $40. The gross profit is going to be $60. So I bought groceries for $100. It cost the store. And then we have store's profit. Using this basic, we can do both the percent margin and the percent markup. Percent margin is profit over sales. Here, that's going to be $60 over $100, and that equals to 60%. Percent markup, on the other hand, well, that's equal to profit over cost, which is still $60. The cost is only $40, which gives us 150%. That's okay. I'm going to note that markup can be very big. However, margin is always going to be less than 100%.